G'day folks. Well, now my channel's sort of kicking on a little bit, and I've got into talking about a lot of the things on the car, but I've never really talked about why I ended up doing what I did. And I want to go back a few years and tell you a little bit about my reasons for remounting the car, and why initially I was after a bit of horsepower. And my friends at the few years ago were look, everything revolves around horsepower, and we all want that extra bit of horsepower. And really I was only playing around with a naturally aspirated 308 cubic inch engine. And I've always had this desire, I wanted to build this killer motor. And I just had this train of thought. I hadn't really dabbled in turbos. I've got a couple of other cars, well one now, but I had a couple of other cars that were turbocharged 4 cylinders, Subarus. And so I had some idea of what turbos produced in power and the benefits from it, but never really considered turbocharging my car, to be honest. Always liked the idea of it, but I'd never really thought about it, gave it much of a thought, because I think a lot of the reasons I really hadn't considered it. The complexity was one, and I felt that boosting a V8 engine, especially in the front, was probably not really wasn't really appropriate for what I wanted to do with the car. I felt I did do some drag racing years ago, and if I'd stayed doing that, I think front mounting probably would have been a good option, really. But I ended up sort of falling into, I had this desire when I was a young fella, always wanted to race a car. And it's only been in the last sort of 4 to 5 years that I've had that opportunity where I could join a club and start doing some club racing. Now, so, back in the day I really I needed more power to make, to really enjoy the full potential of what you can achieve. And I only really stumbled on this rear mounting. I hadn't really, to be honest, I heard of it but never really gave a second thought to it. And I never built up enough information in my mind to make an opinion on it back then. So I really was a novice at it, and I hadn't sort of gone down that road. And it was a friend that had lent me this DVD around 5 years ago. And he said, Griff, look at this, check it out. And the rest is history. I'd have looked at this video, and it had this fella in a Commodore. He had rear mounted it. What he was doing with the car, I think it was just a bit of a street machine. And I went into this after I'd seen that video, I went into this sort of deep learning curve. I really did. I got on with that onto STS, and at the time he had a business rear mounting a lot of Corvettes, and I think a lot of Camaros, Mustangs, and made quite a successful business out of it with his rear mounting business. And after researching and learning that, I thought, well, why not? And I didn't really understand the benefits of it. I really didn't at the time. I thought it was, for me, the reason I did it was an easy install. I didn't have to touch my header pipes. I could leave my exhaust system on, and and the rest of it. So I ended up buying a really small, I think it's a 6257, so 62mm compressor, 57 exhaust housing, TGO, I think it was a TGO 4 or 5. Way too small a turbo, but it worked, and fantastic response, but it wouldn't allow the engine to rev out. It was too choked up top. But that was my first introduction into rear mounting, and that really sort of opened my eyes to the potential of the thing. You know, this was, to me, was all new 4 or 5 years ago when I started doing it. So it was a great steep learning curve. I did have a lot of issues to start with. The most concern was fuel pressure wasn't rising, and you know, that was probably a lot of my own fault. But since then, you know, I've gained a lot more knowledge now, and fairly confident in what I'm doing and how I can, and what direction I want to go in. But I just wanted to let you guys know that since I've done this rear mounting, it is, and I'll be honest here, I'm not making this stuff up, it has been one of the most significant things I could have ever done to a car, and I'm not kidding you. You know, I put that benefits video up, and it's gone, for me it has gone a little bit viral, because it's so different. It's, you know, who would have thought you could run around a circuit doing what I'm doing with a rear mount turbo? It's almost unheard of, and I'm sure there's others doing it, but as far as like you know, looking on the internet and seeing other people do it, I have never seen anyone else do what I do. And for me, I felt like I've really hit the nail on the head as far as a package has gone, because I can run around the track and keeping the under bonnet temps basically very under control, and it's allowed me to do what I want to do. And to be honest, at the moment, I'll let you know, guys, the power really, I'm only tapping into it. I'm only just scratching. I'm on 7 pound of boost, which is nothing really. And the power delivery and the response that I'm getting from the turbo being a rear mount is phenomenal. It really is. And it blows me away. Every time I hop in this car, my heart level goes up, and it's like I jump into something completely different. This isn't the same car that I've had. I've had this car, I think, around 18 years. Now, it's not the same car. Even in the last 4 to 5 years, it's completely different. And like I said, I'm really only just scratching in the power potential of this. So with more learning and more experience, it's only going to get faster, and I can really get a very deep. I want to get a very deep understanding of how everything works on the car, in the tune side of it, and the whole workings. And that's what really makes me, and really drives me, because I know that this car at the minute, I'm only playing with it, for goodness sakes. I know that the potential of this car, with a few more tweaks and a few more, you know, little upgrades here and there, it's going to be really incredible. And I know that I'm on the cusp of it. I can feel it. I know when I take it out, I've just got to be very steady with it, because it's got so much torque, and the power is so incredible, really. A lot of the time I'm driving only sort of half and occasionally 3/4. I've only really a couple of times, half a dozen times, opened it up. You can't open it up low down in the when it starts to spool, because it just gets too aggressive. So you've really got to feed that sort of power on around 4,000 on, and I can sort of hold it. And I've got the revs set at 6.1. So as far as potential, I would say I'm around 40% of what it really is capable of, to be honest. And that, for me, is an incredible feeling, knowing that you've got a beast that's that it is really just scratching on the surface of the potential, and that's what turbos offer. Turbos offer that. They really do. They can really give you not an unlimited potential, but an incredible potential for whatever you're doing, and they're phenomenal things. And there is no one else racing down there with a turbocharged V8. There's a few 6 cylinders, and yes, they're making good power, but goodness me, they're up around 30 pounds a boost. So for something that's 7 pound a boost, basically can't go any lower, it's incredible. So, and I know that a few other guys down there that are having a little bit of trouble with these early Holden in A form. They're not the most reliable, because, well, I think once you start pushing them over 6.5, sort of 7 onwards, everything changes, and I don't think that they're designed for it. This is why I'm going to another block, and it's just to let you know that, guys, what I'm doing is really, it's only the beginning, and I'm doing, what would you call it, an apprenticeship on it all. So I'm taking my time and making the right decisions. I want to, everything I want to do to the car, I want to make a right decision with it and learn and research everything before I make that step. So I hope that you guys can really learn off what I'm throwing out there, and I have the utmost respect for my followers, because there's a lot of guys out there. Most of you guys already know what I'm doing, but if you can pick up, like I said, a few little bits and pieces here and there, it makes it all worth it. So that's basically the reasons and the little bit of a story into how I ended up doing what I'm doing. So, and it's been an incredible ride to date, and I know that with some really good decisions and not rushing in, and learning things about, because there is, well, for you guys know, there is so much knowledge to learn. There is so much to learn about. Once you amplify your performance on a car, it's completely different to what in standard form. Everything changes. Every component that you touch, you really have to think about it and make sure that it's up to the task, and make sure that whatever you do to it, that you don't forget about the weak spots. Like I said, those wheel studs scared the hell out of me. And so that's one thing you really have to pay attention to when you start amplifying everything on a car. So there'll be a lot more vids to come, guys. I've got so much, and I said this, I keep saying it, but I've really got a lot on my mind that I want to share with you. Now it's sort of taking a little bit of a different direction, but I think it's a really good direction, because this really suits a broad range of people that are sort of interested in all this sort of modifications, and I'll still be doing my updates and everything else, but it's just an additional side of me and what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking out loud, and what I say too, guys, I don't lie about it either. Everything's all backed up by testing, and it's real. I wouldn't go telling you that I'm making 700 horsepower when I'm not really. I haven't dynoed it, but I know one thing, I'm making enough for what I am at the minute, and I've really got a job to hang on to what I got. So it's scooting along fairly nice. And to be honest, I've had no one pull around me under full boost, walk by me, period, at the minute. So, and there are some pretty powerful cars down at the club. So that's saying one thing. It's only a matter of time. Like I said, she'll all be on the march forward, and with better driving. And that's another thing too, guys. Learning how to drive. It's really taken my. I thought going into it was going to be easy, but it's not. It's unbelievable the skill level you've got to have to drive around a track, and that's what I love about it. I'm just taking my time, not rushing, because the last thing I want to do is prang this car, and I don't mind if I don't walk away with any quicker times for the weekend, but if I can pick up a bit of data from the car, find a little niggle here and there or something, look, to me that's a win. So yeah, anyway, that's enough of my ramblings. My next video will be on the lessons learnt. I made a few mistakes putting a rear mount turbo on, and it wasn't the turbo, but it was all the little things to get it to where it is now, and I want to share that with you guys. So if you ever do go down that road or know of someone or whatever, you can say, hey, this guy, he's put it out there, he's actually, what he did, he wasn't very happy with it or never worked. And that's what I want to do the next vid on. So you guys can get a bit of an understanding on what some of the little, I think, mistakes that I've made, and you can learn from them. So I'm very hands-on. I don't go into the technical side of things, but I'd go at a deeper level with what I'm talking about. So, and I hope that can you guys can understand and get a bit more of a hands-on approach for when you do attempt to do whatever you want to do, and that's what it's all about. Alright guys, well that's it for now. I'll pop another one up soon. Alright, I'll catch you later.